Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ergonomics and Facilities Planning for Hospitality. We're already at our 17th week. And for week 17, our topic is about concept development. So for week 17, basically, our topic is about facility design or the concept development, and also not only that, for week 17, we will also explain the importance of food service planning and design and determine the correct or appropriate placement of food service facilities. So the facility design is just a continuation of our lesson from week 16. So let's proceed to our topic. So we have here food service planning and design. So the concept development. So the development of a food service operation usually begins with a concept or idea suggested by a land develop a group of investors or a corporation. After the idea for a restaurant is agreed on, the owners will need to make decisions regarding the specific characters of the restaurant, such as the type of the facility, the type of menu, location, and so on and so forth. So a list of these key decisions. These initial decisions will direct the entire planning process, so they should be made carefully and the owners must reach a consensus. It simply won't work for one owner to decide that he or she wants a 24-hour coffee shop and another to decide that the style of service should be buffet. So usually dito sa concept development, syempre, kailangan yung owner yung mag-assume or will uh, of course, responsibility for making all the initial decision. Kasi kung hindi okay kay owner, edi hindi magagawa yung the design or the facility. But of course, we need to delegate the responsibility to the architect or food facilities design consultant. Kasi hindi pwedeng laging nasusunod si owner. Kailangan i-reconsider din ang idea ni architect or ni food facility design consultant because um, there are some instances or situation na hindi tugma ang project or idea ni owner sa mismong concept ng isang food service planning or the design of the food service facility. So basically, yun yung nangyayari. So for this one, we have some regulations. So since nagde-design pa lang, nagpa-planning pa lang, we need to consider regulations governing construction and operation of the restaurant. So, kailangan din siya pag-aralan. So, we have some regulations. The first one is the zoning code. So, zoning code are the regulation that dictate the type of business and building allowed in a specific geographic areas. So, zoning issues include setback, easements, and height and construction standards. So construction standards include the National Electrical Code and the National Sanitation Foundation Codes or NSF, and the building officials and code administrators and life safety of the code as well. Another regulation that needs to be studied or considered is the Department of Environment Resources or Department of Health Regulations. So dito sa Pinas, tinatawag natin itong the DENR. So of course, for example, yung restaurant mo may matatamaan na malaking puno, so you need to have a permit or secure a permit to the DENR na magko-construct ka doon ng isang restaurant or a facility or an accommodation. So for the Department of Health Regulation also, or the DOH or Department of Health, of course, may mga standards din sila or requirements in order for you to run your business or food business also. So they need to inspect if you had complied with the particular regulations and checklists or requirements that needed before ka mag-operate. Another regulation is the Americans with Disabilities Act. So this applies only sa ibang bansa Let's at the end of the lesson, let's check whether meron din ba dito Disabilities Acts regulation lalong-lalo na of course with a certain accommodation or restaurant. Um, if it is a wheelchair accessible or kailangan ba ng special equipment para sa mga persons with disabilities, lalo na sa mga employers if they could work also if they have a disability. So that is for our regulations. So for designing our function areas, so function areas are section of the restaurant where similar of um, activities occur. So each function area should be designed as a workstation or group of workstations. So a workstation is a space planned for a specific set of tasks. After the workstation have been designed, they can be arranged within each function area to meet the overall design or objectives for the restaurant. So for this one, we have here the following. The following sections describe specific aspects of planning each function area. Restaurant function areas include receiving, storage, and kitchen and dining room and office areas. So the first one that we have is the receiving area. Of course, ito yung mga for the delivery and inspection of items or mga inventory natin. So kailangan properly designed din siya because it is the first control point for food and supplies as well, and it sets the foundation for the quality of the menu items served as the basic quality of food bought or brought in cannot be improved on. So therefore, food has to be carefully checked to make sure suppliers do not deliver products that are below the restaurant's desired quality standard. We also have here the back dock, so, or the delivery or receiving dock. So for this one, it should be accessible from the restaurant's delivery driveway, and it should be hidden also from street traffic and any dining room windows. So these objectives may be accomplished with landscaping or by building a wall around the area. So when possible, the dock should be visible from a back window to allow management to monitor activities. And ideally, the back dock should be covered as well. And the last one that we have is the inspection areas. So basically, it should be adjacent to the delivery door. So it could help to ensure that delivered items are actually checked in. Of course, nag-receive ka na nga tapos malayo pa yung inspection area, hindi siya tugma or it is not appropriate. So um, that is why it should be adjacent to the delivery door or to the receiving area. So these are the four function areas or the workstation that we have. The next one that we have is the storage area. So of course, once the food items or the inventory are received, they are transported to either dry refrigerator or frozen food storage areas. So may dry tayo, yun yung mga, of course, mga canned goods, etc. Refrigerated, needs to be chilled. And of course, for frozen foods as well. So may frozen food storage areas tayo. Storage area should be positioned between the receiving area and the kitchen. So however, they should be closer to the kitchen as the number of trips made from the kitchen to the storage areas exceed the number of trips from the receiving area to the storage. The amount of storage space required is ideally determined by considering the number of meals prepared, the frequency of deliveries, the variety of menu items, and inventory policies. So the food facilities design consultant can estimate the number of cartons, bags, and boxes needed per inventory item on a daily basis. So for this one, we have some factors to consider for the storage area. We have here design factors for food storage and of course design factors for non-food storage. For the design factors for food storage in dry storage facilities, ventilation should be sufficient to minimize odors and prohibit condensation on walls and equipment. Oh, sorry for that. So all surfaces also should be easy to clean, and floors are usually concrete or tile. Walls are usually masonry or gypsum board with a washable finish, and the room temperature should be between 10 degrees to 20 and 21 degrees. So windows should not be included also unless they are dictated by regulation. So if windows are required, they should be secured to prevent theft as well. And lighting level should be at least 15-foot candles. For the optimal distribution of light, the lamp should be located over the center of each aisle. This is for our food storage. For non-food storage, uh, such as alcoholic beverages, ano pa ba, mga drinks. So we have here, alcoholic beverages should be stored in a lockable area. In large operations, closed-circuit television may also be used to increase security. The storage area needs to be big enough to maintain stock in an organized manner, so physical inventory can be completed easily. And since some alcoholic beverages will deteriorate when stored improperly, temperature and humidity requirements must be considered when planning the beverage storage area. So unpasteurized beer should be stored at 2 degrees to 3 degrees Celsius. Generally, red wines naman should be around 10 degrees Celsius, and while white wines and sparkling wines should be stored around 10 degrees Celsius. So bottled wines and beer should be stored in dark areas as light will cause the product to deteriorate. Cleaning supplies must be stored separately from food to avoid accidental food contamination, and the storage area for cleaning supplies must be large enough to contain cases of detergents and cleaning agents. So this is for our storage areas. Basically, these are the design factors that we need to consider for food storage and non-food storage. So for our last, I mean, di pala. The next one for our design is the kitchen. So the kitchen should be located between long-term storage areas in the dining room, while specific work areas in the kitchen will differ based on the menu. Most restaurants will have a pre-preparation area, a cold food or salad preparation area, and a hot food preparation area. So restaurants that offer homemade desserts may have a separate bakery area as well. So ano yung mga areas sa kitchen? We have here the pre-preparation. So pre-preparation, ito yung of course the prepping station. Basically, kailangan nandito lahat yung mga pag-clean ng mga raw items, and then of course your fruits and vegetables, and of course mixing of dressings and other sauces. So dito siya sa ating prep area. So of course, the typical equipments items needed for this task include sinks, work tables, mixers, vertical cutters or mixers, and food processors. Equipment should be placed to minimize the number of steps employees must take to do their jobs. In a small restaurant, the pre-preparation area may be combined with a cold food preparation area. The next one is the cold food preparation area. So for this one, it is designed for making salads, appetizers, and sandwiches. So sa mga large restaurant, pinaprepare na siya in advance, lalo na sa mga bangkete. So mas marami din siyang work table and refrigerators. And of course, major equipment items are required for the cold food preparation area. We also need sink, lalo na sa pag-cut ng mga fruits and veggies, and of course slicers and a food processor as well. Another one that we have is the hot food preparation. So the hot food preparation area is where chefs or cooks prepare and entrees. So such as soup, sauces, and vegetables. Also, workstations within a hot food preparation area may include broiler, fryer, griddle, soup, and saucer and saute stations. To increase the flexibility of this workstation, some of the equipment items can be purchased with quick disconnect hoses and casters so they can be moved when necessary. The next one that we have is the broiler, and the broiler station may be used for preparing steaks, fillets, and pork chops. So basically, this station should be located close to the dining room, as broiling is quick cooking method. So if necessary, gas or electric broilers may be stacked to save floor space as well, and this area will be warm due to the heat given off by the broiler. Therefore, the broiler station is usually placed at the end of a hot food preparation area. We have here the fry station, and deep fat fryers are standard equipment in most restaurants. They are used to prepare French fries, deep fried fish, chicken, and vegetable items as well. So the fry station should have space for loading and unloading products, and refrigerator or freezer space to store uncooked products. The number of size of fryers will depend on the number of fried menu items. Griddle is the station used for cooking menus, items such as eggs, hamburgers, and pancakes. Ito yung parang sa mga, I don't know if I should mention this, yung mga Angel's Burger, mga ganon. Basically, yun yung griddle. So, we need also space for storing ingredients and condiments, and holding cooked products should be allocated for this workstation as well. Another one is soup and sauce. So, inclusion of a distinct soup and sauce workstation depends on the number of sauces required and whether soups are made from scratch. Equipment for this station may include ranges, steam-jacketed kettles, and tilting bracing pans. The soup and sauce station will need counter space and space for ingredients and utensils. If possible, also, water source should be located nearby so it will be convenient to add water to soups and clean the steam-jacketed kettles. This kettle should be located in a section with a depressed floor or have a curb to prevent kettles should be located in a section with it to prevent the liquids from spilling on the floor. Sorry. And prepared soups or sauces may be held on items is required in this station as well. Another one is the bakery, and if restaurant owners decide to offer extensive pastry or dessert items, the project planning team needs to design a production area for baking. So if space is not available, bakery production will have to be arranged around the hot food production schedule, so the same equipment can be used. The baking production area may include mixing, dough proofing, dough rolling, cooking, cooling, and decorating areas. So equipment includes mixers, ovens, dough dividers, dough rolling equipment, and refrigerators. Table space and space for storing ingredients and utensils are also necessary in all of these areas. Next is the designing kitchen workstations. So, of course, the first space in planning a kitchen workstation or any workstation is to identify the task. And the next phase is the food facilities design consultant decides who will be doing the task, as the skill level of the employee or employees may affect the layout of the workstation as well. So the preparation procedures can be used to identify the equipment, tools, and storage space needed in this station. Another one for kitchen is the environment. So the physical environment or the working conditions in the kitchen should be addressed at the same time the workstations are laid out. Employees need a comfortable environment to work. Most productivity factors that should be considered include temperature, humidity, lighting type and level, noise levels, aisle widths, and equipment design. Lighting will also affect employee productivity. The type and level of lighting should be specified by the planner and should depend on the particular task being performed. Direct lighting may cause enough glare on a shiny surface to hamper employees. Next is selecting equipment. So food service equipment for the workstation should not be selected hastily. Each piece should be researched to ensure it is the most appropriate for the food service operation. Equipment should be selected with care because not all pieces of equipment are equal. So for example, the fat fryers vary by the amount of fat used, the energy required for operation, the ease of cleaning, and the location of controls. So sa pag-select ng equipment, you should identify the following: need and function, flexibility, training requirements, safety and sanitation, employee use, construction methods and materials, service requirement, maintenance requirements, energy requirements, capacity, and cost. So these are the factors that we need to consider in selecting the equipment. For equipment configuration, within each work area of the kitchen, we have again the pre-preparation, cold food, hot food, and bakery. So equipment is laid out in 1-5 configurations. It's either straight line, L-shape, parallel back-to-back, or parallel face-to-face. So the use of particular layout will depend on the specific situation, as each layout had inherent advantages and disadvantages. So yung mga configurations na sinabi, such as a straight line configuration, L-shape configuration, U-shape configuration, parallel back-to-back, or parallel face-to-face, may mga advantages and disadvantages din yun. So you must consider that one according sa type of restaurant as well, and kung gaano kadami yung tao na pumupunta sa restaurant, and gaano din kadami ang employees mo. And of course, your equipment's availability and the menu as well. So for the other kitchen areas that we need to consider in designing, including the facility planning. So we have here the holding and service, the pantry, ware washing, and of course, pot washing. So, of course, nagtayo ka na nga lang din ng restaurant, bakit wala pang ware washing and pot washing? So, it is very important na meron tayong dishwashing area designated lang sa mga soiled dishes, soiled cutleries, and soiled flatwares and food and non-food items, dishwash or items such as pots, mga pinaglutuan. Very important yan. Yung pantry naman, of course, pantry holds the desserts, ice cream, salads, and beverages. It is very important. Then, lalo na kung meron kayong mga desserts na needs to be chilled. For holding service, of course, you need to have a holding table, and of course, yung mga holding table na bago i-serve sa mga customer, it should have heat lamps para hot items should remain hot as well. For the dining room should be located adjacent to the holding and service area, so food temperatures can be maintained to the point of guest service. When dining rooms or other service areas are located in distant locations from the holding and service area, heated carts or mobile holding tables can be used to keep hot food, and refrigerated carts can keep cold food cold. The size of the dining room is determined by the number of seats, and the size and the tables, type of tables and chairs, the arrangement of the tables, and the space requirement for service station. Chairs used in fine dining restaurants are generally large with well-padded armrests, and then the arrangement of tables on diagonal rather than straight lines will increase the number of seats per square foot. So for the dining room, we need to consider the service station. So service station are small work islands located in the dining room. So placement and design of service station can save trips from the kitchen, allowing service personnel to be more attentive to the guests. Items that may be stocked at service station include bread, butter, coffee, tea, soft drinks, cups, sauces, glasses, milk, cream, silverware, crackers, napkins, and condiments. So kung mapapansin nyo, I will give you another example. A pizza parlor here in the Philippines, kung sa Shakey's or Pizza Hut, usually may mga service stations sila para hindi na sila papalik-balik pa doon sa counter. So doon sa service station nila, nakalagay na doon yung menu, meron na din doon yung mga cutleries, napkins, para yung server, just in case may kailangan ang guest, di na siya lalayo pa, malapit na siya doon sa kanyang station. Kaya nga minsan may sa front of the house, may mga tinatawag silang station 1, station 2, station 3. And the next one that we need to of course, consider is the office space. And the office space is necessary for the restaurant manager, assistant manager, the chef, and secretarial personnel. And of course, yung office space, dito nakalagay yung, dito nagpo-perform ng duty ang ating mga chef. Magche-check sila ng mga inventory, ano yung mga kulang, kamusta ang performance of the restaurant, and then also the manager will also perform his or her duties sa kanyang office. Also, ang office space is where the employees could be disciplined, makausap sila doon, and then the record of the employees as well, and the record of mga delivery hotline numbers na kung saan kukuha ka ng stocks, mga non-food items. So, doon nakalagay lahat sa ating office space. So, that's it for week 17. For references and suggested readings, kindly look at your handouts or PDF files as well. And for week 17, we have an activity requirement. We only have one activity for week 17, which is essay part. So we have total of 10 items. So answer each of the following questions in 5 to 10 sentences. So total of 10 questions. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. This is our final lesson for our finals. So that is week 17. So once again, this video will be posted in our Google Classroom. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. So thank you so much, everyone, and see you and good luck for our final examination.